Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Relix, and today we're going to go over episode 2 of My Hero Academia Season 7. And if you guys caught my last video for episode 1, we were introduced to quite a bit of few things, really big things that were happening in the anime, and honestly I thought it was a really good episode. If you guys saw that video, you guys know that I rated it a solid 7 out of 10. It's one of those that had kind of a bit of everything. It had backstory, introductions, and character development, as well as action. So the only reason why I really didn't rate it that much higher was because it kind of lacked what I would say is like consistency, and that's, I won't go into detail about that. That's whatever. Now that's episode 1. If you guys want to hear what I had to say, you can go ahead and watch that video. But I think the same thing kind of goes into this one as well, and I do have just a little bit of nitpicks about this episode compared to the first one, but at the same time it was still a good episode and I would like to go over it. So to start, as you guys may, if you guys were here for the last video, in the right here on the right side of the screen, I have Star and Stripe as the hero of the episode. I am going to put the hero of the episode every time we do a review. Of course, unfortunately, there's only one thing happening right now, and that's the battle between her and Shigaraki. So obviously, she's going to win, hero of the episode for the first 2 episodes at least. So again, this is spoiler alert. Spoiler alert for you guys. If you haven't seen the episode and you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this any further. You should just go watch it. It's a really good anime. I love it, and honestly, the episodes have been enjoyable thus far. So go watch them, and then come back if you guys don't want to be spoiled. Otherwise, for the rest of you guys, here we go. So the episode actually started off with a flashback. Once again, we start with Star in her, I guess you can say, her army uniform, her normal day outfit, just being one of the guys. And you guys can see here, the guys treat her just like one of them. And I think that's great that they have such good chemistry. He goes all the way through the entire episode, including the first episode as well. We get to learn their bond. These guys are nameless, but we definitely get to see the bond between her and them. They are basically like family, and I think that's amazing. I do appreciate what the anime does, and it definitely makes it feel like every character, regardless of how major or minor they are in the anime, they have some kind of role, and regardless of their status in the show, they still add a little bit of something to the world. And I think these guys definitely add that to the world building of who Star and Stripe is, as well as the characters of the heroes coming from the US. As you guys know, these guys are all from the United States of America, and they're going over to help Japan. So it was a really cool flashback, getting to know them just a little bit, just a tiny bit. It was only a minute, just before the opening credits, and you just get a little bit of bonding. Makes them show that they really care about her and she cares about them very much. Going forward, we actually get straight back into the battle. Right after the opening credits, we see that Star and Stripe is still fighting. She has the laser sword that she used her quirk on to stab and keep down Shigaraki into the ocean floor, and he is constantly under heavy damage. His regeneration quirks are able to keep him alive and basically not die, which I think is a little overpowered, but for the sake of the anime, we have to ignore that. It is a unique universe after all. But then, literally moments later, we see the Tiamat missiles come in, and I was wondering what role would those things play from the last episode, and we got to see that right away. I mentioned before that Tiamat is in mythology is a 5-headed dragon. Well, there's 10 missiles, so there's 2 sets of Tiamat missiles, and here we are. The missiles are all flying together, and using her abilities, her quirk abilities, Star and Stripe grabs all 10 missiles and she launches them, all together. And so here you go. Here's the result of her launching them. After she releases her quirk to grab them with her air body, I don't know what you want to call that. Her quirk, she made herself a clone of herself using the air, and in order to grab the missiles, she had to release the lasers, and so because she can only use she can only control her quirk twice at a time, 2 objects or something inanimate, if you will. And so the lasers had to go. In that moment, Shigaraki had a moment to, obviously, if you guys saw the episode, you guys know that is not Shigaraki. He did not jump up out of the ocean. In fact, this is actually a Nomu that he summoned. And using that Nomu to distract them, she threw the missiles at the Nomu that's flying at them. And it's kind of funny too. Her attack move, obviously, it's she's trying to be like All Might, right? She looks up to All Might as a teacher, as a mentor, and so that's the whole point of the episode, is she trying to repay what he gave her, spirit, right, and ideals. And so she mimics his move calling, you can say, and she calls this attack that she throws the missile at state-of-the-art hypersonic intercontinental cruise punch. And I was like, oh my god, that is a mouthful. But as you guys can see on the right side of the screen, it definitely packed a punch. The explosion was so huge, so devastating, that even from far away, Endeavor and Bestigenus and Hawks could see it from where they're driving. Now, I don't know how far it is, but visually, that looks like miles away. And the explosion's really, really big. So, obviously, these type of missiles are used to bombard things and destroy completely. Now, as far as the Nomu is concerned, I'm actually a little surprised. The Nomu survived. It completely survived. And I'm a little shocked by that. I think it should have been disintegrated entirely based on the explosion size. And I'm not surprised that Shigaraki survived. That's not the problem. My problem, again, like I said, is the Nomu survived completely, almost unharmed. So a little disappointed to see that. A little inconsistency there, because the Nomu is only as strong as it has the quirks to prevent itself from dying. And I don't think that Nomu was specifically made to survive 10 Tiamat missiles, right? So a little bit of inconsistency there that I'm like a little nitpicking about it. But regardless, it was still a cool scene. And I think it goes to show that this anime has a lot to, present to us. Right, that's the explosion. So next, we also get a explanation of how Shigaraki survived. He explains to us, as the audience, that he used, in the moment that the lasers stopped pressing him down, he used his quirk, Decay, in order to dig himself a hole underneath and bury himself. Now, I don't know about the bury himself part, because as we can clearly see from the top pictures, there is clearly a hole that leads, from where he is to the surface. So I'm a little concerned about the, again, consistency of his tail. But either way, for the sake of the plot, very genius, obviously, using his quirk. He does mention that he has gained a lot more control over it since he's transformed into the Shigaraki that he is now. And so he was able to avoid the missile explosion just by hiding underground. Which is, in a way, that's kind of cool. So, I don't mind that. But then, then we see the after effects of what happened that. And, oh my god, what is that? Holy shit, what is that? So, obviously, as you guys can see, the result of Shigaraki hiding underneath, as I said, did not actually kill him. However, it severely damaged and burned the hell out of his body. He is completely disintegrated into a a living corpse. Literally, I don't even know how to describe it. It is freaky as heck, and he was able to survive it. So I don't know how that is possible, to be honest. And going even to last season, in season 6, where he was taking a beating from everyone, including Endeavor and all of his flames. I don't see how it's possible that he can survive all the damage he is sustaining, especially when it looks like this. That's the thing that I'm like very concerned about. If these heroes who are like literally the strongest in the world, who have like literally body disintegrating quirks, can't even kill him, then what can kill him? I'm not sure. So that's one thing I'm a little concerned about going forward, and it's, you know, a little inconsistency, but it's still kind of cool at freaky at the same time. But because he did survive, he was able to jump up while Star and Stripe was falling, and she in fact got touched. So as you guys can see with the pictures here, he did grab hold of her, face and all. He used his quirk Decay, and as well as stole her quirk New Order. And so this is the turn of the fight where, you know, looks like the hero's about to lose and Star and Stripe's going to die. Clearly, you know, there's no way to get out of it. As we've seen in the anime so far in the past couple seasons, Decay, as soon as you get touched by it, you're done. You're practically going to die. There's nothing you can do. And especially in the state that Shigaraki is in now, he is able to do that. Also notice that in the short time from that picture, that was him jumping out of the water from the hole, and then he jumped onto the X-66 jets and hopped from, I think, 3 and touched her face. So in that short period of time, he was able to regenerate his entire body from being burned and destroyed completely. So he is none the worse for wear, and he was able to steal her quirk New Order. As you guys can see in the bottom right corner of the pictures, she also makes a fist saying that, you know, she was happy that she can do her part and, you know, make All Might proud in a way, but she is not done. She is not done yet. So she actually used her quirk one more time, and this quirk is very overpowered. I will say it's very overpowered. There doesn't seem to be a huge limit to what it can do. Obviously, because of its overpoweredness, I'm a little appreciative that you know, she will be dying. If you guys saw the whole episode, Star and Stripe does indeed die. However, she doesn't go down without a fight. And the only reason I'm appreciative that she is dead is just to show that even though these heroes with mega, you know, powerful quirks, you know, are amazing and stuff, they are not invincible, you know. And so basically her quirk, her last order was to basically make herself invincible to other quirks. I believe that's what it was. Or what was it? Like, what was it exactly? I forget what it was exactly. But basically, no quirk that Shigaraki has in his possession will work on her. She is invulnerable to those quirks, and she is going to start ripping him apart from the inside out. And the result is he is dying. Excuse the watermark. But yeah, he basically is exploding. His skin, his whole body is exploding from the inside out because the many quirks that are inside of him are actually being destroyed. And as a result, he cannot use them without suffering damage. At least that's my understanding. And so in the end, he starts suffering huge amount of damage from the outside. And it is very visible. And in the end, she still dies, unfortunately. She still dies. But she did go out with a fight, with a bang, returning the favor to All Might in the sense that she sacrificed herself to give the world either a fighting chance. With this quirk, she believed that, you know, maybe it could kill him, right? Because look at all the damage he was taking. But the end result was that, unfortunately, she died for nothing, or almost for nothing. The only thing that really mattered was Shigaraki realized that he can't keep the New Order quirk, so he needed to get rid of it. So he decides to start run away, and he needs to get rid of it. He thought maybe he could get one to one of the pilots. Unfortunately, they flew into formations where he can't touch them, and so using his Nomu that he summoned, he absorbed its quirks. Again, the inconsistency is just kind of ridiculous. He instantly did it, but he was able to fly away while sustaining damage. You can see in the top picture here, he was sustaining damage this entire time. Look at his skin just ripping off his arms, his back, he's bleeding out. He looks like a complete mess. And again, I'm a little discouraged about how much damage he can take. This regeneration quirk that he has is just too overpowered, and all the while, Star and Stripe is, tearing one quirk after another out of his body from the inside out. And, he's losing. We don't know exactly how many quirks he lost, but you're telling me that of all those quirks, he didn't lose his regeneration quirk at all, or heck, even the wings. They just happen to be perfectly safe for him to escape, right, and survive. So I'm a little disappointed in that, but basically he retreats, and he is able to fend off the X-66 fighters using another shockwave that he used earlier in the first episode. But on his way back to the mainland, he thinks of All Might and how, or rather, I wouldn't say it was Shigaraki as much as it was All for One. He thinks about how All Might is always constantly ruining all of his plans. Even though it was Star and Stripe who did it, it's because of All Might that she became the hero that she was, and basically ruined his plan again, and basically ruined this body that All for One's trying to take over. So basically, he retreats into the mainland and immediately goes to, I guess by chance, randomly, he just needed to find somebody. And so he enters this house, just conveniently from the side, not even like blasting through the roof or anything. He enters from the side of the house, and there's this convicted murderer and robber. His name is Kashiko Kashi, or Kashiko Kashi, and the girl is unnamed, but basically I'm pretty sure she's the same, in the same boat as him. He was one of the escapees from prison that Alpha One released, and we don't know what his quirk is, and she probably has one too, but basically Shigaraki showed up, and as you guys can see in the top right corner, he is absolutely dead, like absolutely zombified. He grabs hold of Kashi, and he tries to give him New Order, the quirk from Star and Stripe. However, in doing so, her quirk basically defies being used by, it cannot be given away once it was accepted. And so instead of being able to transfer it, the New Order actually basically destroyed itself. And as a result, we actually got to see, Star and Stripe turn to this large skeletal figure from the inside that was devouring all the quirks and breaking them apart. She disintegrated, and that's literally the end of Star and Stripe. That's how she dies. But at the same time, they don't get New Order, and that I guess that quirk is now gone forever. At least that's my understanding. That's what happened. And upon destroying the quirk, we also got to see a piece of Shigaraki Tomura in his child form, his innocence, I would say. And that's why I'm calling it, at least. That's his innocence. That's the side of Shigaraki that does not want to do what All for One wants. This is him. This is the part of him that cried out, you can say. The face that cried out to Deku and wants him to save him. And that's the whole reason why Deku and, the other One for All members are going to try and rescue him. I'm not sure if that's a good idea, to be honest. Honestly, to me, I think just killing him after all he's done is the better choice. But we'll see how that plays out. But unfortunately, Star and Stripe died. New Order's gone, and not much really was resolved. And this episode ended up turning, or the first episode and second episode, kind of ended up being a little bit of filler, just to fill in the gaps of some things, as well as basically Shigaraki's full power. We need to decrease that and give the heroes more time. There you go. With this, he is now damaged and needs to regenerate again, and basically, the heroes got an extension. So I'm a little sad by that, because it's just filler information. But there is some things that come from there. Obviously, he lost quirks. We don't know what quirks those are, but we may see that in the future come into play. We'll see. As far as the two criminals, though, they did, I guess, die, I suppose. I mean, you guys can see in the bottom right corner, though, they became very lifeless compared to the top left picture. Clearly, they are just, bone and dry skin. Like, they are just, I don't know how to describe it. Like, they just got completely drained of their life. So I don't know how that happened, or why that happened. I would think that Shigaraki's decay quirk would have literally just killed them both, like turned them to dust and unrecognizable. But in this case, that didn't happen. So maybe that's a sign to show that maybe his decay is gone. Who knows? Because, I mean, you guys can see on the bottom left corner, he got a full face plant with his hand, right? So I don't know what that means, but we'll see. Obviously, you guys can see the heroes there, Hawks, Endeavor, and Best of Genius. They found the bodies. There was a whole search and to see where Shigaraki went. Unfortunately, they did not find him or any traces of him. So regardless of that he's weakened and he's kind of vulnerable right now, they have no idea where he went. Just to kind of wrap up this video, we have a few more things that ended the episode. One major thing was this. So in the top, this was actually earlier in the episode, but I put these two together. You can see the red X's and a bunch of the orange lines. Those are like reinforcements that are trying to get to Japan, but are cut off. Why? Because All For One has connections around the entire world that is causing havoc around the entire world of the entire Earth. And basically, villains from around the world are banding together and working to fight against the heroes. It's not just Japan that's under siege. All the world is having resistance from villains more than usual. And there's one hero underneath. I'm not sure, but I think he's from a movie, one of the My Hero movies. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what I read up something. Salam from Egypt, he wanted to go and assist Star and Stripe in the fight, but he was denied by his country, and they said that they needed him there, and they cannot allow him to go and basically maybe risk his life for another country when their country needs him there, which is understandable in a certain point of view, right? But in a way, it's kind of sad, because that means Japan has to basically fight on its own. And even though its top heroes already lost, it's like, how are we supposed to survive? How are we supposed to win the battle if our top heroes have already been defeated once before? We'll see. But yeah, it's just a little sad thing to see, that the villains are able to keep going with their plans, and unfortunately Japan's not going to receive any help. So here you go, one last view of the villains, though. Basically, All Might, he got the information from the X-66 fighter jet pilots, the brothers of Star and Stripe. They gave him information, and he's like explained to the Class 1A that these guys, these villains, are basically the main threats of the world right now. You got Shigaraki in the top left. Obviously, he may be damaged, but he will regenerate apparently, and come back soon. Who knows when that is, because they don't even know where he went. All for One on the top right, and that's his original body, so we don't know where he is either. He could show up at any moment and cause havoc as well, because he has multiple quirks as well. And then in the middle left, we have Dabi, and he has an uncontrollable flame that even Endeavor can't, handle. And on the right, Toga, she is technically missing right now. I don't even know if she's actually with the villains, but she always has some part to play for the villains, and she's always there, causing havoc. So she's also quite deadly. And then bottom left is the high near end, I believe. High near end Nomus. Those are the strongest of strong Nomus. They have multiple quirks as well as immense strength. One alone is more than even for the top heroes to handle by themselves. If we go back to the last season, in fact, Mirko could barely handle fighting a couple of them. So they are very dangerous. And obviously they are we saw in the last episode as well that they are bodyguarding All for One wherever he is. So those are also an option. And of course the Liberation Army on the bottom right corner, they're also a threat as well. They're working with the other villains, and all the black figures in the background, those are all the escapees from prisons or even just normal criminals from around the world. All these things are coming into play, and there's just not enough heroes, specifically not enough heroes in Japan. Definitely after the destruction from season 6 that basically killed off a ton of heroes. And right now the actions taken in the bottom picture is the heroes still evacuating civilians from the devastation from that battle. I don't know the extent of that battle. I don't know the time frame necessary, but obviously we can see that Deku is in the top right corner. He is fine. He's recovered from his fights. Obviously at the end of season 6 we got to see him patrol and help people around the city, or around the cities, I should say. But what is the destruction that's still in the bottom of the screen? I don't really know. By now, this should be days, maybe weeks, who knows, maybe even months, after that entire war broke out. So we don't exactly know what is going on with all the other heroes. For all we know, that could be other destroyed cities that happened off screen. But either way, the main heroes are all too busy and overwhelmed with work, especially with at the end of during season 6, a lot of heroes retired because they couldn't handle the pressure that they cannot save everybody, and the regular citizens were going against the heroes. And so basically with the US #1 hero, Star and Stripe, now dead, it's discouraging not just the Japanese community, but all around the world. No one's really going to send help. No one's going to really fight back. And so that's basically what leads to All Might explaining this to the Class 1A in the top right, and saying that they have to get stronger because there's not going to be help from anyone else. And hopefully with the data from the top left, those are from the X-66 pilots, hopefully with all the data they recorded from the fight with Star and Stripe and Shigaraki, they can find a weakness, can understand the quirks that he has, things like that. And, basically pass on the torch to the next generation of students. And that's what I loved about this anime, is even though Class 1A is, has many members of it, none of them really feel like they're totally left behind. Now, I know some characters are a little bit weaker than others. I get that. That's the only way it has to be. It's just like, for example, watching Naruto, right? I mean, you're not going to have all of the rookies be major characters throughout the entire anime, but they do play their parts whenever they can, right? Well, same thing here. As you guys can see, this isn't all of them. Unfortunately, the picture, I don't think it's all of them. Yeah, it's not all of them. But you guys can see most of them are here. They are talking about how they are getting stronger and they are no longer just students. They are no longer kids. They are turning into young adults and they are going to be heroes one day. And if they're going to do that, now's the time more than ever. Basically, the episode ended with All Might saying that they need to get stronger and they need to use this time that Star and Stripe had given them to, this extension, as they put it, to get stronger. And then that's when Bakugo yelled at him, and it was a hilarious scene. Bakugo yelled at All Might saying, "What do you think we've been doing?" And all the entire time that Deku, All Might, and the other heroes have been out patrolling and, going a little bit insane. The other students still at UA, they were getting stronger. They were still practicing their quirks. They're enhancing their abilities. I forget who it was. Who was it? I think it was Tailman. He said that they were still utilizing the Wild Wild Pussycats training ideals to help enhance their training techniques and their abilities, so that when they do find Deku and they bring him back to UA, which they have, they can say, "Hey, we haven't been lazy. We haven't been sitting on our asses. We were getting stronger while you guys were doing other stuff." And they're all ready to demonstrate what they have in store for the villains. And it doesn't look like much, obviously, from the picture just below, but they are confident, more or less. Some of them don't look very confident, but they are. The whole idea was portrayed that they are very confident in their abilities. They can help the heroes push back the villains and be heroes themselves. And I think that's awesome to see, that even though there's multiple of them in this class, not a single one of them really feels like they're going to be left behind. At least that's the feeling I got. I could be wrong. But overall, the episode itself, it felt short. I felt like the episode was really short. I guess I was just enjoying it to the point where it was just flowing very fast. But at the same time, there's a lot of inconsistencies I had issues with. So as far as an overall rating for the episode, I'm going to give it a 6. A solid 6 out of 10. Like, if anything, at most a 7. But I would only give it a 6 just because it's a little bit weaker than the first episode, just because of plot convenience for Shigaraki and how he survived all the attacks that he was, all the damage he was sustaining. But overall, it was still an above average episode. If you guys remember from my last episode, I said 5 is average, 1 to 10 scale. 5 is average, so 6 is just above average. I rated the first episode a 7, which was good. But overall, I am very pleased with the way the anime is going so far. I know 6 and 7 don't exactly sound high, right? But I'm being critical about it just because I love the anime so much. I love this series so much that I want to watch more. I want to see more. And honestly, I didn't watch the previews. I don't like to watch previews. But from a couple pictures I saw, clicking through, I am excited to see what the class has to show. I think that's what the next episode is going to feature. What they have been working on, whether if it's in a practice, maybe it's like they're like teamwork type things, I don't know. Or if they're maybe going out on the field, for sure. We'll see. I am excited to see what the class has to show to All Might to say that, hey, we can be actual heroes now, not later. And they're no longer just kids. So I am excited to see that. I hope all of them, not just a couple, not just a couple that get left behind. I hope all of them really have a way to shine and help their main heroes out and then progress the story. Now, I also said in the first episode that I don't want to see everyone survive. That's just the reality of what the anime is right now, right? It's a war. It's an all-out battle. That's one thing that I mentioned about, like, for example, Naruto in the war arc, right, to end Shippuden. Technically speaking, only Neji died, right? So, of all the main cast of Naruto, only Neji died. That's kind of disappointing. Like, all these generic ninja died, but you're telling me none of the main guys died? So, same thing here. I don't want to see them die, but it just has to happen. When main casts die, it adds to the anime itself. And I think, or any show, anything that has main characters dying, it just adds to the tension, the actual tension of the anime. That's why it's a war. People do die and people get hurt. We saw that in the last season as well. Many heroes died. Some of them even very sad deaths, and some heroes got completely injured. For example, my favorite hero is Mirko, and we have yet to see her on the season. However, she was in the opening sequence, as I mentioned in the last episode, and she is a total mess. So I want to see the kids from class 1A do stuff, but I also want to see them suffer, not literally like suffer, like get hurt and stuff like that, but I wanted to see them fail as well. We need to have that tension, and I think that's one reason why I do appreciate this episode, is to show that even though Star and Stripe is as strong as she is, and in some cases some recognize her as the strongest hero in the entire world, she was not invincible, and it was possible to die. So obviously, again, like I said, it was kind of filler episodes, but at least it inspires the kids to be stronger and show off that they have more talent that we have not seen yet. So hopefully that's what we can see going forward. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the episode. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this little review, breakdown, whatever you want to call it. Again, this is just my thoughts and opinions on the episode. I don't read the manga. I don't follow anything else. I don't watch any of the movies. I just follow the anime itself. But I do love it. It's one of my favorite animes. And so, like I said, I'm going to be doing this review for every episode. For you guys, I'll be posting it every Sunday because the episodes come out on Saturdays. But yeah, if you guys enjoy it, hit the like button, comment down below what you guys thought, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know in the comment section from Class 1A, who's your favorite hero? Let me know. I want to know who your favorite hero is from the class. As far as a hero, I actually like Bakugo. I think he's really cool character as well. He's kind of like, in comparison to Naruto, for example, he's kind of like Sasuke. He's like the more misunderstood kind of character, but loves to, show off his power. He's power hungry and wants to never be left behind, and also wants to be ahead of everyone, right? So I love Bakugo for everything he does and what he believes in, and he is a very good character. I can't wait to see what he has in store for our future episodes. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, week, and then I'll see you guys for the next episode. Bye-bye.